How to remove a repossession. I'm going to take you step by step directly from my book, $10 Credit Repair, the Ultra Edition, Chapter 12. The first step to get a repossession removed is to clean up your credit report and get rid of all old information. Old addresses, name variations, old employers, old telephone numbers, and any personal information that is incorrect from your social, date of birth, you're going to dispute it. Now, you're going to create a dispute letter to dispute each old address and any incorrect personal information, and don't leave a telephone number on your credit report. The reason being, when you start your dispute directly with the repossession, you don't want to have an old address tied to wherever that car loan was originated from. So if you had an old address and where you applied for a car loan and that car was repossessed and you no longer live there, you definitely want to have that address removed. Now, once you create that dispute letter, you're going to include a copy of your ID, most recent utility bill, and proof of your Social Security number, either by your W-2 or a tax document or a physical copy of your actual Social Security card. You're going to place that information directly into a certified letter. Yes, I had to look at the camera and say certified. Place all that information here in priority mail. Once you place it there, what you're going to do is, once it has been confirmed received, the green receipt, you're then going to upload all that same information directly to each credit bureau's website. That way, you have ensured that the Fair Credit Reporting Act requires that disputes be mailed and you have proof of receipt. So once that occurs and you're going to upload it directly to the credit bureau's website, the next step, you are going to contact the secondary credit bureaus, LexisNexis, ARS, SageStream, and Clarity, and request a security freeze. Why? Once you place a security freeze on the secondary credit bureaus, that prevents the big three, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, from verifying that information electronically, and it forces them to do a true investigation, which is what you want them to do. Now, once you have your personal information correct, with all the old addresses, all the name variations removed, you're going to move to step 3, because your security freeze is in place. You have confirmed that all the old information has been removed. Now you're going to create your dispute letter. Now, there's one or two ways you can create the dispute. Right now, I'm not talking about a voluntary repossession. I'm talking about an involuntary repossession. An involuntary repossession, if it was done by a bank, so if you got your car loan through a bank, you would have signed an arbitration agreement. And if you need to find out, was that arbitration agreement adhered to, you can go to adr.org, put the lender's information in there, and you can find out if you signed an arbitration agreement. Now, if you got car dealership financing, you signed an arbitration agreement and it has been recorded. So once you find the lenders in whom you purchased that car, you can look up the arbitration agreement. Typically, when they repossess a car, they fail to offer arbitration so you can negotiate a lower payment. They have violated their actual contract. You can use that if you find out you signed an arbitration agreement as your dispute. You would create a dispute letter stating you requested arbitration, they repossessed my car, they failed to give me my rights under the contract in which I signed. I'm requesting that this repossession be removed permanently. You would send that letter directly to each credit bureau and to the lender that repossessed that car. Now, the next step, if you didn't sign an arbitration agreement or you're having difficulty with that lender, once your car is repossessed, you can request directly from the lender the sales receipt. Yes. Once your car was repossessed and sold, they were to provide to you a copy of the sales receipt, because whatever the car sold for should be subtracted directly from whatever your loan amount outstanding was at the time of repossession. Normally, they never provide that information. And once they fail to provide that information, that can be grounds for you to have that repossession removed. Because if they cannot provide the sales receipt within 30 days after you send them a written request, requesting a copy of the sales receipt, you can then follow up and request that that repossession be removed from Equifax, TransUnion, Experian directly with that lender who placed that information on your account. Now, if it is a voluntary repossession and where you gave the car back voluntarily at the request of the lender, or you told that particular lender or dealer you could no longer afford the payments, you're going to have to use a different method. You're going to have to request directly with that lender using a goodwill letter stating, hey, I, with the understanding, returned the vehicle once I knew I could no longer afford the payment, and I'm requesting, since my act of goodwill saved you money because they didn't have to do any legal fees, they didn't have to pay a company to come and get your car, they didn't have to pay for storage, you voluntarily returned it. A lot of times they will remove that repossession from your credit report. But here's the key. Go to Elliott.org, that's ELLIOT.org. Find who is the second or third in command at that particular lender, and when you construct your goodwill letter, place all that information there, send it certified mail directly to that individual, not to the CEO. When you send it to the CEO, typically they get so much mail, they normally don't have an opportunity to review your account or that letter. So sending it to the VP or VP of customer service is a much better way to do it. Now you say, man, they didn't provide me a sales receipt, I didn't do voluntarily, and now how do I dispute this repossession to get it off? The next step you can dispute is to actually send a dispute letter directly to the credit bureau and request that they provide an investigation directly into that repossession, because you don't have a copy of the sales receipt and you never got a 1099 in where you were shown that that debt had either been written off or sold to a collection agency. So now you're going to use that method by disputing it directly with the credit bureaus. Once you do that, when they respond, if they say account verified, you're going to send another letter, and you don't have to use any USC codes. or any threatening language. Just say, how was this account verified? If I didn't get a copy of the sales receipt, you didn't provide me proof of the sale in which this car was sold. How did you verify it? Who did you contact? And I'm making this request directly. And please, in the last sentence on that dispute letter should be, I'm requesting the investigation results be provided to me in writing. Now, that should prompt them to either delete it or send you proof that they actually investigated. And if they do send another letter stating that this account was verified with no proof, that's when you escalate it directly with the CFPB, stating that my consumer rights were violated under USC 611. That's it. Once you submit it, and then you show that you have proof that they received your dispute letter and requested, and where you made directly with that lender for the sales receipt and they failed to provide that information, nor your 1099, you now have grounds for that to be permanently deleted. Now, I'm gonna make a follow-up video to this for those who really need to escalate it and have been really fighting. But if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll be sure to respond. Thank you.